like you said, you went over to Len's house a lot growing up. And the both of them were just caring individuals, really family oriented, and just
Yep.
loved being around so many people. Just getting to briefly, I got to be friends with your grandfather, and
Yes.
I used to go to his health food store over in Brentwood all the time. Like we would talk about the good old days with him wrestling Jackie Fargo and teaming with Bearcat Brown. And I also helped create the Facebook page for
Yeah.
Len Rossi, and it's still up and running if people want to check that out. But he had so many stories he was telling me about his days in the ring. Uh, it was very different back then. It's not like how it is today, this $1 billion business. You had like so many people almost like jump ship from city to city, town to town, and territories were like it was like the Wild West because you had so many people like leave and come in, and it was cycling
Yeah.
around. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and back then too, I would say the southeastern market was probably the most popular. I mean, that's where guys would come to make a name for themselves. I mean, my grandfather moved from Utica, New York, and I'll kind of share a little story
Sure.
with you.
Yeah.
This is kind of an interesting story that so when my grandfather moved down here from New York to be a wrestler, he the Poffos, who is, Macho Man
Yeah.
was Randy Poffo.
And Lanny
His
as
dad
well.
was Lanny Poffo. So my grandfather told me this story, and I think, I don't think he ever really fibbed to me much about stuff like this, but he said that when Lanny was trying to make a name for himself, he called my grandfather up and he was kind of telling him like, hey, I don't know, it's just not hitting off for me up here. I need to come down there. I need to come get in that circuit. But he didn't have any money. He was kind of broke. And my grandfather said, well, why don't you come live with us? And he stayed with my grandfather, him and Randy, for like a few months until my grandfather could help put him on, loaned him a couple $100 at the time, which was quite a bit of money at the time. And him and my dad, Joe, and Macho Man were running around the front yard 5, 6 years old together at my grandfather's house. And I always thought that was an awesome story that, he helped Lanny, and that's how the guys were back then. They helped each other out when they needed it, and they were very. From what I understand, back then they were really close. A lot of the wrestlers were really close. They spent all this time together on the road. I mean, they weren't driving around in buses and planes like they are now. They were riding around in vans and cars together, going to 4 different cities in a day. I mean, think my grandfather had said that I can't remember how many miles he estimated he logged. And he said he wrestled over 10,000 matches in his career.
I mean, that's
That's
chaotic.
insane.
It is. I mean,
Like
that
that.
takes it takes a toll on your body for that long if you're going from town to town in your car up and back. I mean, the miles,
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
And another real quick thing on that
Yeah.
too is my dad, just another cool story, that you're probably not going to hear anywhere else. But
It's an
my
exclusive.
dad, when Andre the Giant first came over, first came to the States, um, he wrestled a lot in NWA and in the Southeast. And he was on the road with my dad for 3 or 4 months when he first came over here. So my dad literally rode in a van with Andre the Giant, various other wrestlers, to all these different venues. And he said one time they went to this all you can eat buffet, and they Andre apparently took out a whole island of food, and the manager was so upset that they said if he came back, he would have to pay for the food that he ate. And he said Andre would literally, they would go to the bar after matches. He would drink a pitcher of their beer to a glass of their beer. And but he said that Andre was a prince of a guy, like he was just the nicest guy, but said he could barely speak English when he first came over too. So it was always kind of hard to communicate with him, but pretty cool story.
Yeah, I mean he was by all accounts a gentle giant. I mean,
Right.
that guy was an attraction for the business. Later became a movie star. It's just incredible to see where the humble beginnings for such an iconic figure like Andre started out in the territories.